All right, everyone, welcome back to the Land of Chem. I am your host and the author. My name is Jeffrey Drum. Thank you all so much for joining me again. All right, everyone, welcome back. This is Sunday Site Visit 38, and today I will take you along with me to explore an ancient site known as Old Sarum in our quest to discover the truth about this lost civilization and their ancient technology based in chemistry and physics. I will also be presenting some fascinating and extremely compelling research utilizing Lidar landscape topography analysis that dates the construction of the stone and earth circle systems of England to the exact same time period that I have proposed in my book for the construction and operation of the Egyptian pyramids. If this is the type of content you're interested in regarding the ancient technology of a lost civilization utilizing physics and chemistry and the function of the Egyptian pyramids and other ancient structures from across the world, this is the channel for you. So please subscribe to the Land of Chem here on YouTube. Click that little notification bell so that you do not miss the new episodes that premiere twice per week. Like, comment, and stay tuned. If you want to help support this channel, just check out the Land of Chem members only section, link in the video description below for exclusive research-related content and unreleased footage that you will not see anywhere else. If you want to pick up a copy of the book or grab some merch, check out thelandofchem.com. If you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is @thelandofchem. Also, don't forget to check out our two newest channels here on YouTube, Egypt Eats and Egyptian Trash Cats. Links in the video description below. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that is it for today's intro. So without further ado, let's get right to it. All right, everyone, here we go with tonight's episode. And to begin, here is an aerial photo of Old Sarum, so you can get some orientation during today's Sunday site visit with the modern road and access into the site here, the parking lot over here, and entrance to the inner mound over here. You can also see the two concentric circle enclosures surrounding the structure here and the inner enclosure here. And a closer image showing the inner mound and its external reservoir. And I'm going to bypass any information on the later occupations of the site, as I will explain it during the site visit footage, and it is also completely irrelevant to our discussion regarding the original construction and its function. However, during my research on this site, I stumbled across some very interesting research by a gentleman named Robert John Langdon on both his website and YouTube channels called Prehistoric Britain. And I will put links to his work in the video description below so you can go check it out for yourself. All right, now, Langdon's work uses Lidar scanning technology and analysis of the landscape topography, and he proposed that the ancient structures of Britain were constructed during the late Mesolithic and early Neolithic periods directly following the end of the last ice age, circa 10,000 BCE to around 5,000 BCE. And you can see here from his research that the water levels surrounding these sites, like Stonehenge and here Old Sarum, would have been much higher during this time period. And although I disagree with his hypothesis for the function of these sites, which is that of mooring posts for boats and trading posts for a seafaring lost civilization, I do agree with the proposed time period that he is suggesting. For example, his dating for the construction of Stonehenge circa 8,000 BCE, when the water level of the Avon River, as you can see here, would have been much higher and closer to the site. And specifically regarding Old Sarum, which you are about to see today, he suggests that this site was originally an island completely surrounded by the waters of the Avon River. During that time period, at the end of the Mesolithic period, as you can see here, from his Lidar topography scanning and recreation of the water level at that time, that this site would have been completely surrounded by water. And it would have looked something like this. So just keep this idea in mind when you are watching today's Sunday site visit. And as the waters fell, other structures were built to replace them in lower elevation locations across the landscape. And he presents some math analyzing the water level changes since the Mesolithic period and gives a date for Old Sarum as approximately 7,000 BCE, making it much older than the suggested circa 3000 BCE conventional dating, which we all know is nonsense. He also proposes that this site, due to the evidence of reused sarsen stones during the much later occupations and construction at the site, that Old Sarum would have originally featured a concentric stone circle system, like you can see here, similar to that which we see at Stonehenge and Avebury, appearing something like this. So to summarize, I find his research highly compelling, and I agree with the timeline that he is suggesting, as it corresponds directly to the exact same timeline that I have proposed, not only for the construction of the passage chamber structures of Ireland, but also the construction and operation of the Egyptian pyramids, sometime during the Saharan wet period from around 8500 to 5300 BCE. And although I disagree with his hypothesis about the function of these sites, I highly recommend this channel. So please, after you finish watching today's Sunday site visit, go check out his YouTube channel and website, Prehistoric Britain. And please subscribe to this channel, as I truly feel this research deserves more attention, and watch his full video on Old Sarum, link in the video description below, leaving some comments saying Jeff at the Land of Chem sent you, so he knows exactly where this new traffic is coming from. And coming up soon, I will be presenting my hypothesis about the physics-based ancient technology that was being utilized at Old Sarum. So please subscribe, stay tuned, and ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I hope you enjoy Sunday Site Visit 38. All right, everyone, welcome back. And on today's expedition, we will begin at a site called Old Sarum. And the origin of this site dates back to approximately 3000 BC, around the time of the construction of Stonehenge and Avebury. And it has been essentially perpetually occupied. Later, an Iron Age hill fort occupied by the Romans and the Normans. And then later, relatively modern establishments have been constructed at this site. But the hill and the earthworks are extremely ancient. And you can see this huge valley and the earthwork that surrounds the site all the way around here. The main structure itself here in the center, and this is more of the earthwork enclosure here at the top of the hill. An absolutely beautiful site. I'll put in some diagrams at the beginning of the video, as always, so you can get some orientation before we proceed with today's Sunday site visit. And we're going to start our exploration of Old Sarum. There's also a huge moat or reservoir surrounding the central structure. I was just over here, and we're going to take a walk
around the outside perimeter. And a couple of people said they got dizzy from the time lapse of us spiraling up Merlin's Mound. And I appreciate all the interest, support, and encouragement from that episode. Probably one of the most amazing things that we've seen thus far, with I think Avebury still surpassing pretty much everything else. It was wild. Not to mention the weather that day was it was out of control. You'll see it in the footage. And so again, you can see several layers of the structure. There's the external perimeter, another large moat. This wall here, the center structure also surrounded with a moat. And this site has been basically perpetually occupied since 3000 BC, home to a number of different forts and castles and miscellaneous other relatively modern occupations. But the site itself, again, very ancient. And on the inside, they have a little presentation for children going on right now, talking about witches and making potions from herbs. Of course, the science of alchemy was once persecuted and demonized and turned into this mythology of witchcraft. But it was ancient chemistry. Oh man, did you feel that? So just from coming down off the wall into this area, I don't know, it feels super peaceful here. There was definitely kind of a shift in the energy from walking around the perimeter there. And it almost reminds me of crossing over the wall at the temple of Ptah at Abu Sir, and Lex is nodding her head over there. Because once you cross over the wall into the threshold of the temple, there's such a profound shift in the physiological sensation that you can feel in your body. And at this point, I'll delineate between old and ancient. So these are old walls, but not ancient walls. Ancient, in my opinion, referring back to the time period of interest that we focus on here on the channel. Old being anything from, again, I think this site was repurposed around 400 BC. And then later even into the Saxon period. So old, but not ancient. And I just wanted to walk over here. A pretty spectacular view of the countryside. So here, and you could see the exterior perimeter of the site, the first valley, the interior perimeter that I am standing on here. And the remains of a structure here. We'll see what this plaque says and tells us what this is. The nave of the cathedral. Which would have stood here. It certainly makes sense. So, of course, you see these modern cathedrals and churches built in proximity to all of these ancient sites, and I mean, it's really no surprise that they picked this, because again, I felt it as soon as we crossed the threshold into the center of the structure. All of these things were built in a very precise location. Both in the ancient times and then the modern reoccupations of the structure, utilizing them for similar purposes. And this other plaque here is probably going to give us the configuration of the cathedral. Yep. This is the nave. We're standing here. The high altar here. And so even with the cathedral structures of the relatively, well, old but not ancient, they were all still constructed according to sacred geometric proportions. So we see like Luxor, the Temple of Man, it's designed with the five proportions, the proportions of the human body, and the temple having feet, a body, and a head. And of course, the altar always being placed in the head. And so, of course, a perfect spot to do what we always do, Lex and I, when we visit these ancient sites. We'll be right back. All right. So here in front of me, you can see the core or the center of the structure. And as we walk back around the outside, I'll show you the pretty deep reservoir or moat surrounding this thing. Which it certainly appears that the earthwork part of this structure, the exterior rims, the perimeter, the moat or enclosure or reservoir, were all an original part of the structure, which during later occupations were utilized for fortification of the site. Of course, in the ancient time, the water perhaps being utilized within the function of the structure, and then later in the relatively modern time for protection purposes and fortification. And we're going to keep taking a look at these plaques as we walk around here. We were just talking about ghosts before we left the hotel. Old Sarum's ghosts. All right, so you can see here, Neolithic period, 3000 BC, communities around the hill, seasonal gatherings, spiritual site, Bronze Age occupation, Iron Age occupation, etc. And like I was just saying, even during the Neolithic period, all of the earthwork part of the structure already existed. And of course, this is a quote-unquote ceremonial site, as they call all of these things ceremonial sites, because that's a catch-all phrase for archaeologists that don't understand what was really going on at these structures. And we are standing right here. Again, you can see the remaining area of the cathedral over on this side that we were just exploring. We're going to continue to walk around the perimeter and enter the main structure. All right, and here's a pretty good vantage point. So we just walked around this inner circle here, and you can see the deep ravine, moat, or reservoir surrounding the core of the structure here. And this is the entrance that we'll take to access the remains of the fort and the castle, of course being old but not ancient. And we'll have a look inside. All right, and as we proceed into the modern entrance here, a quick overview of what we've already discussed. So, exterior perimeter wall, ravine or primary reservoir, another perimeter wall, interior reservoir, and core of the central structure. The site being occupied during Neolithic, Celtic, Roman, Saxon, Viking, Norman, 18th century, and then the modern day excavations in the 20th century. So conventionally dated 5,000 years old. The origin of the site dating back to approximately 3000 BC. And I will say there is pretty profound quote-unquote energy. I hate using that term, but the electromagnetic energy field, to use a more scientific term, is pretty profound at this location. Again, just like crossing over the threshold into the temple of Hatshepsut at Abu Sir, there is profound physiological sensations that you can literally feel, and you heard it there in the video. As soon as I cross over that perimeter wall into the core of the structure, it caught me by surprise. Here is the interior reservoir, and we'll take a walk around the inside. As I mentioned before, they're doing a little, I don't know if this is Halloween or a normal part of the site visit, saying about how witches experimented with mixing herbs for magic potions, chemical reactions. Some plants weren't supposed to be used in potions. They made people feel funny, like they were floating or flying. Ma'am, I'll take 2, please. All right. And the core of the structure. And we're going to take our shoes off and stand right here in the center in just a moment. But we're going to take a walk around. Oh, so yeah, this is a Halloween presentation, but again, we know ancient witchcraft, wizards, alchemy, magic are all chemistry. This is a really cool site. Yes, of course, I'll be diving into the original, my idea on the original function of all these structures in some upcoming research episodes. As I'm sure you've all caught on by now, we've been alternating between site visits, which are simply intended to just show you the location and immerse yourself in the experience of being on site. And then the research episodes diving into the function of all of these ancient locations. And it certainly looks like I see one over there and one here. Some pits or shafts leading down into the mound. Which that does not surprise me whatsoever, considering what we just saw at Marlborough Mound, otherwise known as Merlin's Mound. Of course there are pits and shafts going down into the center. Another plaque about relatively modern hall and bakeries and other parts of the fort that were here. More witchcraft stuff. Just to clarify again, all of this stuff is old, but these are the remains of the castles and Norman forts that were erected on this mound. So we're not looking at ancient construction here. It's old, but it's not ancient. So again, as I was just saying, these are the remains of the castles that were erected on the pre-existing mound. Still a very, very cool site. And here's that cathedral. You can see the outline of the cathedral where we were just standing. And more information here about the Norman fort. weapon storage, and the dungeon. All of this stone here is flint, which we have been seeing across all of these sites. There is flint all over the place here, utilized in the old construction, and also it seems to be surrounding all of the ancient constructions as well. So let's just head over here before this battery dies, and then Lex and I are going to take a moment to explore the sites ourselves and do some more connecting. But I just wanted to get a quick shot of this secondary well or pit leading down into the structure here, and we'll see what the plaque says about this hole. Oh yeah. And again, there's a little spout here leading down into the well. Ah yes, of course, the main source of water. The depth of the well shaft, approximately 230 feet. And I would absolutely propose that that was an original part of the structure, connected to, again, subterranean water that is prevalent at all of these sites. Ladies and gentlemen, say hey to Lex. That concludes our expedition to Old Sarum. We're gonna go walk around a little bit more, put our feet in the grass. Stay tuned to more here on the Land of Chem. Like, comment, subscribe. See you next time.
All right, everyone, that is it for today's video. This was Sunday Site Visit 38 from Old Sarum. I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and in the next episode in this series, I have an absolute banger in the works, an investigation of the magnetic field surrounding the Bent Pyramid and the research surrounding the concentration of electromagnetic energy within the Great Pyramid. If this is a type of content you're interested in regarding the ancient technology of a lost civilization utilizing chemistry and physics, and the function of the Egyptian pyramids and other ancient structures from across the world, please subscribe to the Land of Chem here on YouTube. Click that little notification bell, like, comment, stay tuned. If you want to help support the channel, check out the Land of Chem members only section, link in the video description below, and thelandofchem.com if you want to pick up a copy of the book or grab some merch. If you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is @thelandofchem. Also, don't forget to check out our two newest channels here on YouTube, Egypt Eats for food reviews, and Egyptian Trash Cats for our adventures caring for our Egyptian street cat family. Ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate the support, and I think that's it for today's episode. So I will see you next time. Yo, are you still watching this? Please subscribe to the Land of Chem here on YouTube and click that little notification button. New videos coming out every single week. And check out this other episode. Come on, do it. Do it now.